this should be the first year we see someone win Best Actor for her actress and Best Director.
Agreed.
Welcome to The Pestle, reviewing and breaking down movies to look for insights into the movie-making process. Hosted by people talking in the movie theater. Because I absolutely did pay $10 to sit in the dark and listen to you. Let's dim the lights and start the show.
Welcome everyone to The Pestle. Today's show is brought to you by Baby Legs. A cop on a mission that won't slow down. Half man, half baby, all cop. Baby Legs. Welcome everyone to The Pestle. I am Wes.
And I am Todd.
And we're filmmakers. We like to make things, and in fact, sometimes the things we make break. If you were paying attention, which I don't expect that you were, last week I repeated the same intro from the week before.
Mm-hmm.
It was because the clip that I exported for the intro, Premiere got all gobbled up. Like, it sometimes will have a glitch where it processes everything and, I don't know, links it incorrectly. Like the proxies and previews that he uses in playback will get all jumbled up. And so what I had to do, and I wasn't able to do it there at that moment, was go in, delete all the cache files so that I could regenerate all those preview files and fix everything. And so it's always weird stuff in filmmaking, man. Stuff breaks on set all the time, and you have moments to figure it out, because at the end of the day, it's like a runaway train. You got to get on, or else you're going to, wreck your whole shoot. And it's so weird that it really is like a train schedule, like whenever you're scheduling and running a production shoot, because it's not like a normal work day where you're just like, oh, we're behind a week. All good. We have a week. We'll be here. Production doesn't work that way. Everything is money. And the ability to properly schedule and hit your schedule is absolutely key to a successful production. And so sometimes if you're wondering, why does this director keep working? It's not because they make great movies. It's because they turn in on budget, on time, everything they make. It actually goes a long way. So this movie, as much as it is about the art, more often than not, it's much more about the business. And business, of course, has to operate with certain principles like budget, staying on time, running a team efficiently, all those things, right?
Hence a good producer. That's what, like you have to have that kind of mindset, of not just the business, but the aspects around the business, like you just said, scheduling and there's the other people who are there, working for you, with you, devoting their time. And they have lives. So, they expect to leave at 5:00, because that's when call is, or that's when strike is, then it's got to happen, kind of thing. And it's funny because it's like a cascading thing too. You get off on one day, then you get off on the next day, then you get off on the next day. And it's just you can constantly playing catch up. So
yeah,
and that's just talking about schedules. That's not talking about anything else. I did hear, because obviously there's a ton of Odyssey stuff around, and I heard Matt Damon doing an interview about Nolan and about specifically the Trojan horse scene on the beach. And they were walking to set or whatever, or the day before, he said to Nolan, he said, I'm interested to see how you're going to do that. Like, how are we going to do that? Like, what are your, like, how are you going to do it? And Chris said, I don't know. Like right before they were about to shoot that scene. So I mean, I guess, you could even be at the highest level and still have a playful attitude. But when you have a $250 million budget, you can have any kind of attitude you want, I guess. It's not a big deal.
It is a pretty good salve.
Yeah, it is.
But I've heard even Spielberg at this point is so comfortable in his skill set that he'll show up on some days without a shot list. Now those probably aren't going to be days with visual effects. But if it's a normal kind of walk and talk, or, two people in a room, here he just kind of shows up and says, let's do it this way. And he works it out with Janusz. It's all variable, but yeah, having a couple $100 million probably buys you a little leeway.
Yeah, I did hear also an interview with Nolan where he said that his job as a director on set, I don't hit record. I'm not the cinematographer. I'm not the gaffer. I don't do lighting. I'm not the actor. My job is to be the audience on set. And I was like, oh my, that like blew my mind. I'm like, yeah, that is your job, because like you have to look at this pragmatically through the lens of people who you don't know, who are going to be viewing your movie, who are going to be judging your movie later, instead of like, just, I'm going to make this in a vacuum for me. He's at a point now where, yeah, that is his job. I thought that was like really smart phrase.
Wow. That's so cool. Yeah. So there's a lot more to talk about directing, and I'm excited to do it on today's episode. What are we welcoming everyone to today, man?
Today we are covering The Invite. Olivia Wilde directed this film. It's in theaters now. So if you haven't seen the film, please pause this episode and go watch it, because we're going to spoil all the things.
Yeah, we'll do a dive. We'll talk about some of the cinematography, talk about composing for energy, also discuss some of the story and writing, the structure, the setups, and other such stuff and things and stuff.
And a quick synopsis of the film. Joe and Angela's marriage is on thin ice when they invite their enigmatic upstairs neighbors for a dinner party. The night spirals into unexpected places. It's directed by Olivia Wilde, screenplay by Will McCormick and Rashida Jones. It's based on the movie Sentimental, cinematography by Adam Newport Berra. It's featuring Seth Rogen as Joe, Olivia Wilde as Angela, Penelope Cruz as Pina, and Edward Norton as Hawk.
Bye.
Two.
Hey, Angela. Hi. Me
Hi.
too.
Yes. Joe, you remember Pina and Hawk?
This is still a good time.
Yes. Yeah.
Are you sure we are not interrupting something?
No, it's great. It's good. It's good for you.
Yes.
It's great for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love. Yep.
It took you a while to come to the door,
No, da igual.
and it sounded like you were arguing.
No filter.
No, I just want to be honest. We were at the door before we rang, and we could hear you were fighting.
Oh, we were talking.
We were fighting.
We were fighting. Yeah.
Bit of a contentious environment in here, so I understand if that's repellent to you. No hard feelings, you know what I mean? Completely understand, you know?
We love a contentious environment. We love it.
Okay.
Well,
Really, it's fine.
you hit the jackpot then, my friend. You're in for a treat.
So, okay?
Yeah. Great.
Do we have to take our shoes off?
Oh God, no.
No, are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Wait, hey,
Look at
Joe.
this place.
Yeah. Thank you.
Joe, be honest. Do you want us to take them off?
I don't give a fuck if you take your shoes off, personally.
Oh man, dude, I am so excited to talk about this movie because, of the two of us, I've been married for over a decade. Kids,
Right.
You've been single, and so I feel like I have a lot to say about.
Right.
You've been married for over a decade. I've been never married. Okay, and so I'm
16
curious.
years now, bro. 16 years. It's crazy.
Congratulations, sir. What did you think, man? I hyped this up a bit. I didn't know we were going to be covering it, or else I would have hyped it up less. But you walked into a buzzsaw, and so I'm curious, how'd this play for you?
It might be probably close to one of my favorite movies of the year.
Yeah.
It's so fucking good. This movie is so good. In fact, I don't know that there's anything I would change. I did not know that Olivia Wilde had this in her.
Dude, best actress. No question.
100%. 100%. She totally disappeared and yet was there. Like I saw her and yet didn't see her at the same time. Unbelievable. Seth Rogen is fantastic. On Ed Norton's monologue when he's talking about his wife. Oh, I mean, that's honestly some of my favorite acting on his part. Like, yes, he's like a timeless actor. He's been in everything, from Fight Club to like just like really, really amazing things. But this was just like a special moment for him that I don't think I'd seen. He like breaks down. He almost breaks down, but doesn't. And you can tell. It's interesting. You've got these you've got actors who cry. You've got actors who like aren't, they're trying not to cry, right? But in his case, it was, I don't know how to explain it. It was just fantastic. So the acting was great. I thought that the directing was flawless. I heard that they shot this whole movie in sequence. Mm-hmm. And at first when I heard that, I thought, how the hell do you do that? But then I realized, they're in one place 95% of the movie. Right. So it's fine. So I understood at that point. And I did understand also the decision to do that for a movie like this. Like, you have one day where you're shooting an aggressive scene where you're yelling at each other, and then the next day you have to like shoot a scene where you're calm, and then the day after that you're yelling at each other again. It's like hard to get back into that space day after day, or like a different space and then back into this other one. So shooting it in order, I thought was like really, really smart. And the editing also, I noticed, was absolutely flawless. It was kind of like, if you watch a good comedy, it's all about editing. It's all about timing. Sorry, there's a plane overhead. And in this case, it was big time about timing. And I couldn't tell if this was a drama or if it was a comedy in a lot of cases. It was both. It very much was. And that's one of the reasons I loved it, because the moment I felt awkward, it was hilarious. And the moment I felt hilarious, it got to be sad. And when it was sad, then it got to be awkward again. And it was just like this rotating feeling bus that I felt like I was on. Penelope Cruz, fantastic. Just lovely. When she's having that conversation with them towards the end, when she sits down like their therapist, just like, wow, yes, so great in all the ways. I mean, I could not. It's also a very hard movie to watch. For those of you who are married, it's not always easy, and in some cases, it ends. In other cases it should end, but it doesn't, or it does end, but maybe it shouldn't, because it's not really time, but you're just, don't want to put in the effort. And there is a million reasons for all of it. And I also thought, just to end on a exclamation point, that it's really, really easy in stories like this to have there be a villain, to have the wife be the villain or the husband be the villain, or, he lost touch with her years ago because he did this thing, or, she did this thing. But no, it's just life. Life happened, and life will change things around you, which eventually changes you, right? And so it's are you guys changing together, or are you guys changing like this? And it's real easy to, and it's all, I think a lot of it's in the acting, right? To, like, when Seth Rogen is yelling at her, you think, stop yelling at her. But at the same time, he's saying things where I can relate to. I'm like, yeah, I totally get that. And I understand why that would make you upset. Same thing with her, where she's yelling at him, and you're like, you just don't want them to be yelling at each other. But at the same time, I understand what she's trying to convey to him, and it's tough, but it's honest and it's real. And so by the end of it, when they're playing piano, or he's playing piano, and she's sitting next to him, you can feel that neither one of them, both of them were wrong and both of them were right, and that's okay. That it's like, there's not an evil person in this film. Yeah. Anyway, I just absolutely adored it, and I watched it super late. They were only playing at 11 o'clock at my theater. They weren't even serving popcorn anymore by the time I got there. It was like, yeah. But I'm so glad that I saw it. Just, I mean, other than maybe Obsession, and even then, I don't know. This might be more of my favorite. This might be my favorite film of the year, honestly. Yeah.
That's where I'm at. Like, I think for me so far, this is like best film and easy best actress. I'm curious what they'll do for Seth Rogen, because technically he should be nominated for best actor, but they may end up, I'm curious if they'll submit him for supporting. This is a little trick they'll do sometimes depending on how the year's shaping up. And it's like, there's too much competition under best. And so we'll sneak them into the best supporting. And that way you have a better shot at winning, and also getting the nomination, first of all. But then and it helps like drive sales and all kinds of things. Like award season does matter. I think I hear people say awards don't matter, and they actually do in a lot of ways. And so I'm curious what they'll end up doing. But either way, I think he deserves a nomination. He's just so good. But nobody's better than Olivia Wilde.
Agreed. I was absolutely blown away and like in love with her at the same time. It was just, she was so fantastic in so many layers. It's kind of like hard to describe. If you want a masterclass in acting, like she just completely owned it. Yeah,
absolutely. Like her physicality is so amazing and worth studying on its own. Just watching how she uses her body, like she'll hunch her shoulders forward in this insecure and kind of begging way, like she's covering herself up, trying to be invulnerable, even though she's feeling everything so deeply. And yet her face is also wide open, and it's like she's looking for confirmation of something about herself reflected in other people. Like it's so many things happening, and it's slightly shifting from beat to beat, and her energy is just so frenetic, and she is really living in every single beat, every single moment. You can see her absolutely owning, and that's a part of her cloying nature, right, for these other people. Like that whole section whenever she's touring the house with Hawk, is so intense, and there is that part of you that's wondering, like, is there something sexual building here? But more than that, I think we're seeing her desire to feel seen, and how she's looking for him to see her, and the more she's feeling that, the more she's opening up. She did her homework and then threw it all away. Like it's the hardest thing in the world to do as an actor, is to understand your character and then stop thinking about it, and to just be there in the moment. And she, it's an absolute clinic. I also think this should be the first year we see someone win Best Actor for her actress and Best Director.
Agreed. But you think you really?
I know.
I feel like Nolan is just gonna win for the Odyssey just because it's Nolan. I totally agree. Like I can see the directing if I want to, and I can just ignore it if I want to as well. That's what makes it so good. Yeah. If I want to see it, I can, but I don't have to.
The one little salt in my gears, in this, I don't know if it matters or not. I'll throw it to you because it just surprised me last night when I watched it for the second time. I watched it opening day, and then when we said we're going to cover it, I only watched it one more time. And during the opening titles, I saw that this was based on another movie, and I was like, wait a second, that's interesting. And I tried to find it, and this isn't even the second time this movie's been made. This is like the 7th or 8th version of this movie.
Wow.
Which is
I did not know that.
Yeah. And it's like over the last 5-6 years. So it's not like Star is Born. It's like over the last century, they've made 3 or 4 of those things. This is like over not even the last decade.
What? Over the last decade?
Yeah, we've made like
oh my God.
7 or 8 versions of this movie. Now I only watched like a trailer for one of the original. And I will say, it sounds like the same movie. Like the script sounds the same. Does not look like the same movie. Like this is a going from, no offense to the original filmmakers, but it's going from like, oh, we did a play in our living room to we went to Broadway. Like it's just a completely different ball game altogether. And so I don't know how much that really shifts the conversation, because we've seen other movies get remade from a foreign film, non-English film to an English film, like Coda, and win. And so I don't think it should hold it all the way back, but that many iterations blew my mind. I'm like, it's one thing for a second, but for like literally maybe an eighth version, that shifted things in my head a little bit. I'm like, that's nuts.
That's crazy.
But you can also see why people would want to adapt it for their local region.
And
so us in America getting our version makes a hell of a lot of sense whenever you've seen it be successful like 6 or 7 other times. You're like, you know what?
Was it always successful on all the other times?
Good question. I assume, but I have no idea. But I'm only assuming because of how many times it got made. Like,
yeah, it's true. It's just a great story. Like it's a story that like I think a lot of people who are married can identify with, especially the longer they're married. But then not just people who are married, like older people in general, because I think, it could be a marriage or it could just be life. Like you have, a direction and that you've been going and you're just like constantly there. And maybe it's just, instead of a wife, it's like a, is this worth my time anymore? I don't know. Are you divorcing with yourself, because of life? Like life gets in the way of a lot, not just a marriage. And then you've got this thing that comes along that could breathe life into it. And it either ends it or it breathes life into it. Right. So, and in their case, that was my next question. I was actually going to ask you is, what did you think about the end? And do you think that they're actually over, or do you think that maybe they're not?
I think they reconnect. I think they do work it out, because there's nothing like losing something to make you realize what it's actually worth to you, and to make you reevaluate yourself. Like, we're all guilty of taking something for granted. Like, that's the nature of life. And if you never took something for granted, it would be really hard to focus on the next thing. Because you're just putting too much emphasis on the things you already have. And it's like, well, okay, but there's other stuff out there. And so it's to some degree necessary, but if you do it to the wrong stuff, it's hella detrimental. Like, it's good to take whatever your working car for granted, right? Like, you got to get I think it's even okay to take your health for granted to a degree, as long as you're doing some of the basic, maintenance on your body. But like the relationships in your life, danger, that's a danger sign. And so I have more thoughts about this, but yeah, my feeling is they're absolutely going to reconnect, and with this experience, reevaluate how they're living their lives. And I imagine him going back to music. Like, I'll just say my other thoughts then, because now that I'm really thinking about it. Like the opening credit, watching it the second time changed a lot, because I thought the first shot was him in the auditorium, and it isn't. The first shot is a memory. And so whenever the credits are rolling, we're hearing piano music, and we can hear them playing together, and it's happy, it's fun, it's laughter, and it's mostly in voiceover. Like, we're mostly hearing this audio with some film burn images giving us a glimpse of who they were. And the music in this movie really drives so much of the story. Like, it's both driving and also, reaffirming it. So if there's like tension, the music is like, here's some tension. If it's curiosity, if it's humor, you're feeling all that stuff in the music. And so whenever you hear the piano, like, that's love, that's connection. And they really reserve it for just a handful of times in the movie whenever you actually hear piano. Otherwise, you're hearing strings. I don't know if you hear drums. I can't remember, but it's a lot of strings.
I didn't really hear a lot of drums.
Right? It's mostly strings and piano. And in the end, when we finally returned to them at the piano, that represented so much of their loss of connection. It just made me feel like he's finding his way back. And I think as he goes, they go, because so much.
Sorry. 1 second. Stanley. God damn it. Stanley, go inside.
Stanley is his father-in-law, everyone.
Yeah. Get inside.
But him, I think as he goes, their relationship goes. And it was this first starting point. Now, it's not that he's the bad guy. I completely agree. There is no bad guy. And she bears a lot of, responsibility in the relationship, of course. That's how relationships work. But I also think it would be easier. It's impossible for them to get back to a good place without him first learning how to love himself and be content in his life. And without music, I don't see how that's possible for him. And so him reconnecting with music is like the foundational block that allows her to also come back to the table. I think she could come back to the table and it wouldn't change anything. Whereas I think if he comes back, reconnects with who he is, that there's no other way for them to find their way home. I don't know. That was the scatter shot of where I think the movie goes next. What do you think they stay together, or is that or is that just a swan song?
I wanted to, but I don't think so. I think
too broken.
It's not even that. Yes, not wrong. It's too burned, but just like the way they treat each other throughout the entire movie is brutal. It's not like look, my wife and I fight, we do, and we yell sometimes, not so much lately, but it does happen, but it's never like that. It's never so malicious and hurtful. Like, we are always, even when we're fighting, we are conscious of each other's feelings. There's so much that I could say to hurt her, and there's so much she could say to hurt me, and we never would, right? But they have no filter, no holds barred. And some could say, well, that's good because they don't have a filter and they can totally be themselves. Yeah, but sometimes being yourself is not who you really are. Sometimes you're just angry as shit in the moment and you want to say something to hurt somebody, but you don't mean it. And you're just angry. You're letting your emotions get the best of you. And for them, they're just so mean to each other, saying such hateful things for most of the movie that I just can't see him sitting down playing a piano fixing anything. I totally think you're right that where he goes, the relationship goes, and he's probably the main reason why this has turned into this. I mean, but at the same time, they haven't had sex in a year, and that's a big deal. But they make it interesting. They make it you're not sure if it's because of him or if it's because of her. They're both yeah. So I don't know. So I think, to me, they probably don't get back together, but I would like to watch it again to see if maybe, I see it differently the second time. Yeah. And that's the telltale sign of a great film. You watch it a second time and you get something else out of it. And I feel like this is definitely the movie to do that. So I would not be surprised if I watched it again and thought, you know what, I think maybe this does work, because they did say that they're together still because of their kid. Mm-hmm. And while a lot of people would say that's not a reason to stay together, it is a reason to stay together to a degree. Obviously, if there's physical violence, no, there's no reason. But or emotional violence or whatever, then there's no reason there. But like they're both guilty of the verbal abuse of each other. And so maybe the kid is enough to keep them together in order to fix things, and they can start fixing it because of that. I don't know.
Yeah, the worst, man, that opening, I love the structure of this whole thing. Like, I think it does such a wonderful job on the front end of letting us meet them, feel their vibe, how they fight, what they fight about. They let us set up expectations for the neighbors, right? How they truly see them privately, and their points of frustration is all so many little details, even like the window thing. In the moment, didn't feel like it was going to be something, didn't feel like a loop. It didn't feel like they just opened a loop whenever he mentions, we need to put curtains on these windows. I like the light. That felt like the end of that loop. Like, what a genius way to subtly plant a grenade.
Totally agree. I didn't even think of that. Great point.
And yet, like, it's something that absolutely detonates, later on. It's so innocuous and just brilliant. And I think letting us in that first 10 minutes see how much contempt they have for each other was brilliant. And it gave way to so many other things. So many setups in that little section, right? He's against having them over. It's a great sequence of conflict that's going to reveal so much and set up a lot of expectations and tension, and laughter, they have a relationship dynamic that he's tired and reclusive and in physical pain. And she's lonely. She's desperate for attention and desperate to be liked. And we learn that he wants to confront the neighbors about their loud sex. We, through that same thing, learn that she envies their sex, which all the implications of are rough for him, right? Because it means that she's not satisfied with their sex life, and she's not getting any fulfillment, let alone to the degree that, Pina is getting. And it's also feels like he can't win. There's a number of these little he can't win moments. Like, she puts on that shirt and he's like, did you get a new shirt for this? She's like, yeah. And he's like, it looks good. You look amazing, and she's like, well, you could try saying that. And she storms off.
I did.
Yeah. That's perfect.
Seth Rogen is so good in this role, man.
He's so good. And if you've never had those moments in life, I'd be surprised. Like, I think we've all had one of those moments where you genuinely say something that is, maybe something you don't say often, but you do say it. You take the moment to say it, and then you get punished for it.
For having not said it recently.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute.
It's like, damn. I remember I was like 10, and we bought my mom a Christmas gift. And then like a day after Christmas, like, she starts harpooning me and my brother about how we never get her anything for Christmas. And she literally, behind her, hanging on the wall, is the gift that we just got her. And we look and she's like, it's just the once. And I was like, all right, well, maybe never again.
Okay. Then. Yeah, exactly. You're welcome.
And so it really felt deep of like someone whoever wrote that originally, absolutely felt that. So we're getting a really good sense, and I love that it's starting to spiral. And she's like, hold on, you know what? We should just reset. He's like, what does that mean? Reset? I should go back outside and come back in again? She's like, yes. He's like, is this from you've been listening to a podcast? And she's like, so what? Yeah, I want to try it. Let's reset. And it's so perfect because it shows so much about who they are. One, it shows a lack of openness from him, right? He's mocking it. Now he does go along with it, but it's not in the right spirit, right? It's really not coming from a place of like, I'm with you. It's, I'm going to do it despite how I feel. And that's just the wrong attitude. And it also shows that she's making an effort and she's willing to try new things. Yeah, it's from a podcast. Who cares? Let's try something that's going to put us in a different place. And that's so cool because it also really shows how easily she's able to connect with Hawk later on, who's very woo-woo. He's willing to try new things too. Like, he's not beholden to a certain path. And that's just this little tiny moment of recognition that we're able to see into their hearts a little bit through something silly, through humor. And I love that he tries to use it to get his way. And the moment he does, it kills it. The music shifts.
Yeah.
So it goes from this beautiful, orchestrated, like, oh, this is light, and there's something nice happening here, and then it kills the vibe. Once again, the music kind of revealing what's happening inside of everyone. And there's just so much in the first 10 minutes that fuels the rest of the movie. And this lets us inside when Joe is like ready to burst, right? His humor, it's raw and it's aggressive, which also sets up Hawk as like this very unshakable person, because he's going to try to use how he actually feels against the guests. And the guests, as we heard in that opening bite, not shaken, not moved at all. In fact, they like it.
We like contentious environments. Like, what? And in silence, like,
We like it a lot. And it's so good. Like, the humor finally gives way. And this is what I love about the structure, is we spend so much time in these little beats exploring these moments. And they give way to something unexpected, right? They give way to the sexual dynamic of, oh man, yeah, let's have sex. And that gives way to frustration, because they're creating this idea of compersion, right? The ability to find enjoyment in your partner getting enjoyment from someone else, someone other than you, right? And that's a completely different way of experiencing the world. And we see that break in a couple of ways. One, the moment he can no longer get what he wants, everything's over, right? He's not going to let anybody have fun in that moment. But there's also something messed up about her wanting to push through despite hearing her husband in pain. That's not good either. Like, neither one of those things are good. The ideal way for compersion to take place in that circumstance, I guess, is for him to try to deal with it quietly, so that his wife is able to have a good night, or his wife to, for him to, say, hey, no, y'all continue enjoying yourself, and his wife to then say, no, like, is everything okay with you? Like, some level of reciprocal, I care about how you're feeling right now, would have been the right way for both of them. And yet they completely both do the exact opposite of that. And that gives way to very sincere conversations. All the humor in this movie creates space for sincerity and authenticity. And that's just so beautiful, because the laughter, like, after a certain point, you can't really laugh. You can't keep laughing. And so there's a sense of relief that once we can just let the drama really sit, and hearing their story of how they met, that to me, I think, is why I see this as they get back together, because they withheld that. I think if you pull that out at the beginning, it gives us time to get over it. But if you withhold it till the end, it feels like we're now reconnecting with who they used to be. And that attitude is where we're leaving, is them and her running 11 blocks. Yeah, that fucked me up.
What does he say? I just thought you were naturally sweating or something like that. Oh,
that's a beautiful
awesome
story. That was so good. I've never heard that story before, I feel like. And I thought it was just so, I don't know. It hit me in the feels, and I wanted that. I wanted that story to continue. And I think that's why they get, in my mind, that's where the story continues. And I think your interpretation is absolutely probably the more realistic one, but for my romantic brain.
No, now that you've said, like, I think just from a story point of view, just like an editing point of view, like, you're totally right. Revealing how they met later should change how you see the ending. And I didn't even realize that until you said it. And now I totally agree. And that makes me happy, because I want them to, and I just have to put it out there. There are so many parallels in this movie with me. my wife and my relationship. And I'm not saying that we're that we have those like problems to that degree, but when we met, I was a musician. She came the first time I saw her outside of where we met. She came to a show, and after that show, I thought she left, so I ran after her. I play music less now. We have kids. We live in fucking San Francisco, Bay Area. This is obviously in San Francisco, based in San Francisco.
Is it?
You can see him going up the hills and stuff like that.
Oh, you're right. My mind blanked. Okay, yeah.
No, you're good. You're good. So and then and she's whatever. There's so many parallels, and so I'm watching this thinking, oh my God, this is crazy. That like I just yeah, of course, like I want to see them work it out and be together. And so I was thinking at the end, I was like, there's no way that they're gonna make it. But you're totally right that the way the story is told, withholding that makes the ending totally different. I agree, because then you're right, you're still not over the story of them meeting, and it happened 5 minutes before that. And I love that the neighbors completely disappear.
Yeah,
they don't say bye. They do the Irish goodbye shit where they just like leave. And I was thinking, were they even real? Like what happened here? Is this a ghost story? No, but it was. I thank you for that perspective. I think that changes how I see the ending.
I think the other thing that makes all the performance, because you said it already, like everyone is just so good. And I think what helps that is each character is so distinct and clear. Right, Joe, I'm sure this is on the page. I would love to read this script because I bet it's just screaming it on the page. Joe, right, is this bitter guy. He mocks everyone else. He takes no responsibility, hates himself, right? He's so self-loathing. And all of that comes out and how he speaks to other people. Angela, right, so lonely, desperate for affection and attention, and to be liked. And you can see that coming out in every way that she talks to people, and how she treats Joe, because she doesn't feel like she's getting that. Hawk, this hippy dippy woo woo version of Angela, right? Except he's unoffended by anything, and he's radically honest. I love at the end, guys, we just wanted to see the apartment. Maybe fuck a little. Like that dude just kills
But they also reveal some cracks in their relationship.
My favorite in Pina, God, she's confident, she's dominating, she's absolutely sure of herself and everything she says. And I think the single most honest moment in the movie is when she snaps and just flips the script at Hawk. And so many other movies, this would be so out of place, because it's like she's been so chill up until this point. But when she snaps, part of it's, Penelope Cruz is just an incredible actor. But it's also, I think it's so built into her character, because he's breaking a little part of her confidence whenever he corrects her. And that's like very central to who she is. She's very confident. She knows herself. She's just, not a native English speaker. And whenever, she snaps and is like, shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up. Like, and it's so vehement and it's so base. And I'm like, that's the most real interpretation of a relationship I've ever seen in my life.
So good. It was good. Yeah.
Oh, it's so, and then she immediately, like, it takes her a few seconds, but then she comes right back out of it. She's like, I'm sorry. God, yeah. And she needed a moment, and he doesn't hold it against her. Like, that's the hardest thing in the world, is to have someone turn on you like that. And then to be like, it's all good. We're still good. Love. That's like the realest love ever. Yeah.
He had just told this story about his ex-wife who had died, and how he didn't give her what she needed, and that's his biggest regret. And so what he's trying to do with Pina is give her what she needs, and what she needs is what you just said, the the self-confidence, right? And he knows he took that from her by correcting her English, right? Like, I'm sure, oh yeah, because she was saying your Spanish is shit, you know. Like, I don't correct you, you know, whatever. And she's right. So yeah.
And I think having such clear characters makes it easier for an actor to step in, to own their part, and create so much contrast with everyone else in the room. Like, there's probably a lot of these kinds of little four-handers that are just set in one room, where it's like 3 to 5 people in a room, in a house, kind of whatever, Melinda kind of thing. And it's hard to do in a way that keeps you on the hook for an entire movie. And I think that's just one way to elevate your story, is make each character not just serve a purpose, but to fill out some kind of emotional element, dynamic, to reflect on everyone else. Like, Pina and Hawk make sense because they do feel like two halves. They're a reflection of Joe and Angela to some degree, but they're like the most secure version of their relationship imaginable. And that heightened contrast makes for a really fun dynamic, because it's kind of spitting in the face of Joe and Angela. They're together and they're seeing someone that they could never be, but they wish to some level they could be. It makes the writing a little bit easier. It also kind of reveals where your story should go. And yeah, I'm taking just so many notes on how they structured this, because that's the dream. This is the low budget dream. Like, 4 people in one space for an hour and a half. How do you do that in a way that ebbs and flows, creates peaks and valleys, and is fun the whole way through? My God. Yeah.
Well, and the last thing I'll say is like there is this dynamic. Like, every relationship here has its own dynamic, and every room has its own dynamic. So you have them in the hallway when they first come in, and then in the kitchen, and then they have them in the dining room, but not just in those spaces, like in the bedroom where Hawk goes with Angela, and they have that moment of and then, you know, in his office where Pina and Joe go. And so you have not only the relationships of each of the individuals to each of the other individuals, but you have them in specific spaces. And so what that does is it keeps everything moving, and it doesn't feel like done before. You know, okay, now there's a scene with just Angela and Hawk. Okay, this is new, even though we've already seen Angela and Hawk in the same room together, right? But now not only is it just them, but they're in a different room. So it feels new, but also we're exploring the space, and it feels more like an apartment, right? Than just being in like the living room only. You know, like, one thing I'll say about like Sunset Limited is that it doesn't feel like an apartment to me, because they're literally just in one room that is it's like one square area. We don't even go into like the neighboring room or something like that. We're just always in this one room. But here, it's in one apartment, but we're in several different rooms, so it feels completely real. It doesn't feel like maybe a set that they built or anything. It feels like a real apartment. Maybe it is. I don't know, but just the mix matching of all of those conversations in all of those spaces makes it feel like you could stay with them for another hour. You know,
damn, dude. Freaking amazing insight. Yeah, I completely agree. They really, use the whole buffalo on this thing. And to even have a scene in the bathroom, and for it not just to be a scene, but it's an impactful scene. Like, we can feel something shifting in their relationship, and the connection. Yeah, every room brings a new energy and new visual elements, so that, you never get exhausted of being in one space the whole time. And to that end, I also think, talking about Best Director, Best Actress, nominations, I think this should win Best Cinematography. Like, I think just lights out. The way they're staging and blocking things, like in the first half of the movie, a lot of still frames where they're letting the actors drive the energy. letting them move through the frame and create energy that reveals their feelings and creates humor. And they're doing that through locked off cameras. Like there's not almost any camera movement, for a good chunk of the movie. And I love that. It's a smart way to allow the actors to create so much energy by moving through the frame. And like there's that shot. God, I love this shot where Angela is talking about her souffle, and she ducks down and is like pointing at the souffle, and this pose that she strikes as she's bragging about it, and like, do you understand how hard this is and how beautiful this is gonna be? And it's just hilarious. It's intense. You can see the seriousness that she's talking about her cake or whatever a souffle is. Like, it's so funny, and it's all her by just staging the frame, composing it, and letting her own the frame. It's just genius, and it gives the performances so much space to come alive as opposed to getting lost in camera movement. And yeah, I think it's great. Same thing you were talking about, that the opening shot in the apartment, that hallway where we meet them for the first time is also the same shot, same hallway where we're seeing him come into a space for the first, Joe come home, talk to Angela, and it's so good. It's a long take. We really let the moment settle in, and it's just well orchestrated. It's great blocking. They start far away, and they don't cut until we move into a close-up through blocking. We let Olivia Wilde come all the way up to the camera. We can see that gorgeous face, and now we can cut around and start seeing the rest of the space. But we're not going to see the rest of the space until we understand their dynamic first.
Great point. Yes. And they shot it like a comedy and like a drama.
Yeah.
Like a lot of like wides and stuff for comedy, locked off, like you said, so that the actors can move around, so that if there's a joke, it can land and that person can feel kind of like distant, like it trapped in the middle of nothing, like floating, and then when they get serious or when there's real moments, then they're, they do close-ups, and they have like the things slow down a little bit, like the actors slow down in their movements and stuff, and just perfectly executed. I agree.
Absolutely, because if you're moving the camera too much, there's so many little nuanced things that Seth Rogen has given you, Olivia Wilde has given you, that you're going to lose in camera movement. The stuff happening on their face is just going to be a little bit harder to read. Whereas if the camera's completely still, suddenly every little micro expression on their face comes alive and is just so much easier to read, and it's so much louder. And God, dude, when we get to that living room section with them talking about their sex parties, that boggles my mind. Like the number of shots, like I wonder how many cameras they had there. Minimum 2. I wouldn't be surprised if they had 3 or 4 cameras. I should probably look that up on and see how many camera teams they had, because there's just so much happening. And I'm like, they must have ran that scene for 4 days to capture all that. Like that must have took age. It's a very long sequence. And there's so many camera angles to capture this little moment and that little moment. And we want to see this from a 2-shot, but then we want to see Seth Rogen in a single and her in a single. And we want to see that reverse, in a 2-shot, clean. And then in a dirty 2-shot where we're seeing a little bit of them in the foreground. Like the number, I would love a count on how many setups that was, because it started to, watching it the second time, it was burning my brain up. I was like, Jesus, the patience.
And it's such a great acting too. Like, how do you respond to finding something like this out with curiosity, with unbelief, disbelief, with excitement, and with being temperate about it as well, because your wife is standing right next to you, and you're like, I don't want it to seem like, like I'm so excited about it, and they pull it off easily. There's not a moment I feel like I'm taken out here, It's so good.
Everyone leans forward with them. Like they're leaning forward, we're leaning forward. It's so intense, and it's so interesting because at the very opening, Joe, when we first see him, the very first time we see him, He's in an auditorium. He's just finished listening to his students play, but he never heard them. He's completely tuned out of his own life, right? In fact, he doesn't care. He just escapes. He's like, yeah, y'all, great job. He didn't hear them. We know that because we don't hear them. And he just says, yeah, y'all do it a couple more times for practice. And he leaves.
Yeah.
And here we are. Finally, he's engaged with something and he's curious and he's listening. It's a really amazing dynamic thing they're doing with these characters. And yeah, favorite movie so far. I mean, we're halfway through the year, so who knows what comes. But right now, I know where my vote is, Todd.
Yeah, same, man. I'm glad you brought it up last week because I was way pleasantly surprised. So loved it.
Loved it. Nice. What are you going to recommend this week?
This week I'm going to recommend a show on, I think it's on Apple. Apple's killing the game. Maximum Pleasure Guaranteed. If you haven't seen it, it's really good. Great acting. It's a lot of fun. It's funny. It's stressful. Kind of like, not like The Invite, but it's funny, and then it's dramatic, and then you keep wanting to go watch the next episode. So yeah, Maximum Pleasure Guaranteed.
Nice. I have that in my queue, but I haven't hit play. So you've been on fire. Like you got me to watch Cape Fear, and I am like riveted. And so
I haven't watched this episode this week, so don't say anything.
Okay. And so I'll check out Maximum Pleasure Guaranteed. I'm going to recommend another movie that's very similar to The Invite. It's called Splitsville. It's got Dakota Johnson, and I honestly can't remember who else is in it. But same thing, two couples who connect, and they go through a lot of stuff. I don't want to get too deep into it, but if you really enjoyed The Invite, you should absolutely check out Splitsville. I will say it's not on the same level. I mean, again, we're talking about a potential Best Picture winner, so calm yourselves. But it is worth watching if you enjoyed this. Like, it's so good. So yeah, check that out and stay tuned for next week. Is this what you're thinking?
Yep.
Okay. I thought so. So we're going back to the movies and we're going to see, I don't know what to call this. I don't think it's a reboot, but at the same time, it feels like a refresh of the new Spider-Man. We're going to check out Brand New Day and see what they're cooking up. I don't know. It's hopeful. I don't know. The MCU is all over the place, so we'll see what we get. So box of chocolates. And so, yeah, if you're enjoying the show, don't forget, drop us a review, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. And if you want to comment on this episode, you can do that at thepestlepodcast.com/theinvite.
And our quote of the day is from Diane Keaton. What is perfection anyway? It's the death of creativity. That's what I think. While change, on the other hand, is the cornerstone of new ideas. God knows I want new ideas and new experiences. Yeah, it's for someone like me who I strive for perfection in a lot of ways. Like it feels good to have everything be perfect. Nothing happens from perfection. Stuff happens when things break, when things don't go your way, when you have to do something that you didn't think that you had to do, and so it is easy to lose sight of that for someone like me. So yeah. Well said.
Yeah, the accidents are where the really interesting stuff is, right? Like penicillin came because of a botched experiment. And you don't know what you're going to create whenever something breaks. And so it's hard in the moment to be like, yeah, maybe something interesting can come out of this really shitty moment. But you know what? Why not? And I was just curious about Diane Keaton because Olivia Wilde dedicated this movie to Diane.
I saw that.
Yeah, and so I was like, yeah, that's interesting because I remember watching it at some point last night and I was like getting Annie Hall vibes. And then for that to pop up at the end, I was like, oh, that's right. She did dedicate this for Diane is what she says, but it's pretty obvious in the context of this movie. She was talking about Diane Keaton. And if you haven't seen Annie Hall, that's still worth watching. I know Woody Allen's name is kind of in the mud, but it's still a great movie. I don't know what you want to say, but Diane Keaton is a freaking queen. She's a legend for a reason. And so worth watching just for her, if nothing else. And so, yeah, I just love this. The idea of perfection kind of getting in the way of creativity. That's fascinating.
Yep. Perfectly said. Well, again, thank you for the suggestion to do this film. Absolutely adored it. I hope it wins Best Picture. Hopefully you guys agree. If you don't agree, let us know. Tell us in the comments why. If there's a film you'd like to see us talk about or pick apart, let us know. Subscribe, review us wherever you get your podcast. Share us with a friend. It all helps. Until next time, I'm Todd.
I'm Wes.
Go watch some movies.
I have no idea.